Most people think 65 is the finish line. It's not. It's the starting line of the busiest decision-making stretch of your life. Now, here's the good news. Every one of these you can get right. Now, here's the part that should make you kind of lean in a little bit. A couple of them you only get one real shot at. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through 7 questions every new retiree faces. 6 of these you're going to see coming a mile away. The 7th one sneaks up on almost everyone. It sure did on me. Now, stick around, and I'll tell you which one it exactly is and exactly when it tends to hit. This is Brain Flash. Here are the 7 questions of the next 30 years. Most people obsess over how much they've saved. The number that actually matters, though, it's different. It's not how much you have, how long it survives a bad few years. Right out of the gate, a huge share of retirees walk into retirement with no actual withdrawal plan, not a strategy to guess. They watch the balance and hope it holds. That works fine in a good market. It does not work if the market drops hard in your first 5 years of retirement. There's a name for that problem: sequence of returns risk. 2 retirees can get the exact same average return over 20 years, but if one of them hits a bad market early while pulling money out the whole time, they can run out decades before the other one. Same average, completely different ending. An actual income plan answers 3 things in advance: how much you can spend each month, which accounts you draw from first, and exactly what you're going to adjust if the market turns early. Decide that now, calmly, not later, scared. Question 1, do you have those 3 answers in writing somewhere? Or do you just have a balance and a hope? Your income plan only works if the foundation underneath it is solid. For almost everyone, that foundation is Social Security. Picture 2 neighbors, same age, same career, retirement parties practically the same week. Now fast forward 10 years. One of them is still doing the math every month, wondering why things always feel tight. The other isn't rich, but they never once had to wonder. Here's the only real difference between them: one decision. The age they claimed Social Security. Claiming at 62 locks in a benefit that is roughly 30% lower than waiting for your full retirement age. Now, waiting until 70 pushes it about 24% higher than that number. On an average benefit, that's a gap of more than $10,000 a year, every year, for the rest of both their lives. And if you're married, this same date can also set what your spouse receives as a survivor benefit if you pass first. One date, 2 lifetimes. I'm not going to reteach the Social Security math here. We've covered claiming strategy and survivor benefits in real depth in our Social Security decision video series. What I want you to understand right now is, quite frankly, just simpler. This one is really hard to undo. Once you claim the math, it's mostly locked in for life. So question 2, have you actually run the numbers, or are you guessing your claiming age the way most people do, based on what your neighbor did? Now, retirement doesn't fail all at once. It kind of drifts back and forth, and one of the places it quietly drifts is your home. So let me ask you directly, how much money is sitting inside your house right now doing absolutely nothing? The median homeowner your age is sitting on roughly $250,000 in home equity. Not invested, not generating income. It's just sitting there. Go ahead, run the math on your own house. I'll wait. Meanwhile, it's still costing you property taxes, insurance, maintenance, the bigger heating bill for rooms that nobody sleeps in anymore, money flowing out every month towards square footage you're not even using, while the equity stays frozen. Staying now, look, can absolutely be the right call, financially and importantly, emotionally. This isn't a video telling you to sell. But here's the line that matters. Defaults become decisions if you wait long enough. I've never really decided, I just stayed. Becomes a decision anyway. Just one you never actually chose. And this one touches 3 other questions on this list. Where you live shapes your Medicare options. How easy is it to build a daily structure in a community? And whether your income plan has room to even breathe. Question 3 then, stay, downsize, or relocate? And have you actually run the numbers on what that equity could do for you? Or did you just assume the house was maybe a non-negotiable? This is the one most people don't even think of as a question. I didn't either. When I left the executive world, nobody warned me about the calendar. For years, my days had a shape I didn't have to think about. Meetings, decisions other people were waiting on, a title that told everyone, including me, the purpose, what I was for. And then one Monday, guess what? None of that existed. No one needed a decision from me by 9. No one was waiting on a signature. The phone didn't ring with anything that required me. Look, I want to be specific about what that actually felt like because nobody had ever described it to me accurately. Look, picture a random Tuesday. It's 9:17 in the morning, coffee's finished, the kitchen's quiet. Nobody needs you. Now what? That's the question. Not in theory at 9:17 on a Tuesday with a clean mug and a quiet house. It wasn't relaxing. You know what? It was disorienting. Freedom, when it shows up all at once with nothing underneath it, it doesn't feel like freedom at first. It feels like falling. Most people spend 40 years planning to stop working and about 40 minutes planning what comes after. Here's why this isn't just my story. Research on retirees consistently, study after study, shows something that surprises people. A sense of purpose tends to drop after retirement, even when overall life satisfaction goes up. You can feel more relaxed and less anchored at the exact same time. Freedom without structure eventually starts to feel like uncertainty. Your calendar didn't get lighter when you retired. It went blank. And blank is not the same thing as free. So here's the answer to what I told you at the start. Of the 7, this is the one that sneaks up on almost everyone, usually because it doesn't feel like a financial question. So there's no sense of urgency. It should come first because it's the one that decides whether the other 6 even matter to you once you've answered them. Now, you've probably had a financial advisor ask about your portfolio. Nobody's ever sat you down and asked about your other asset, the one that actually determines whether you get to use any of this at all. Healthspan is the years you're actually capable of doing what the first 4 questions just set up for you. Not lifespan, healthspan. Cognitive health, as an example, specifically gets treated like an afterthought when it's the thing that protects everything else on this list. Managing your own income plan, catching a scam before it costs you, remembering your medication, driving yourself to the things that give your life meaning. Social connection deserves its own mention here too, because it's the one people cut first without realizing what it's protecting. Isolation doesn't just feel lonely, it's consistently linked to faster cognitive decline. The standing lunch with your kids, the weekly walk with a friend, that's not just nice, it's part of the plan. Here's the simplest way to think about this one. Every healthy year buys you another year of independence. All right, question 5. Are you investing in that way you invest in everything else on this list with an actual plan? Or are you just hoping it takes care of itself? Look, one more number before we get to the question that actually matters most. Miss your Medicare enrollment window, and the penalty, it isn't temporary, it's permanent. 10% more on your premium for every year you waited for as long as you have Medicare. And Medicare doesn't cover what most people assume it covers. Long-term care isn't really in there, and the average lifetime cost lands somewhere around $135,000. One deadline, one misconception, one number, handle those three, and question 6 is done. Now, here's something almost nobody puts on a retirement checklist, and it might be the most important line on the entire list. What are you actually for now? You're not your job title. You're not your role at the office, the thing your days are actually built around. The research here is consistent and a little surprising. Having a clear sense of purpose is linked to living longer. Not just feeling better, actually living longer. Whether you're still working or fully retired, for some people, that's family. For some, it's community. For some, it's picking up meaningful work again on your own terms, because the need to contribute something, it doesn't just disappear because the paycheck does. Here's the real reason all 7 of these matter. One day, your grandchildren will retire too. They won't remember your withdrawal rate. They'll remember what they watched you do. Let's go back to where we started. 65, it isn't the finish line. It's 7 questions, and they arrive all at once, most of them quietly, none of them announced with a deadline that feels urgent in the moment. Get them right, and the next 20 or 30 years aren't something that happens to you. They're something you build on purpose, intentionally, one answer at a time. You don't need to figure out all 7 today, but you just need to know they're questions, not defaults you back into because nobody told you there was a choice to make. This is Brain Flash.